we're back with part 2 of the Melbourne Pro Punters panel, and we're better pace the bill, so you can head along the one to follow. Grab what's we'll be doing a midweek set.
Midweek set, but I mean, you know, we'll just try and
pick the eyes out,
get something out of Ballarat. But
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Sandown on Saturday. It'll be an exciting meeting. It's good for them to get a Saturday. It's a great track to bet on, so hopefully the turnover there will be appropriate.
Especially on the jumps meetings. Hopefully they get fields because they didn't at Shasta.
They don't have a jump right in front of the grandstand.
No, I will get to that. You can also grab Aaron Barbie's set for Adelaide, Rat for Sydney, and Johnny McLeod for Brisbane. And also make sure you check out StatsBet and have a look at that. It just ticks over. And also if you're interested in the footy, you can grab my stuff where.
Any joy last week, Joby? Any joy?
I made a slight error and cost myself, instead of winning a unit, I lost a unit.
Did you tip Richmond, did you?
No, I tipped the Bulldogs, but I had 2 units on them and had 1 on Sydney, when after reviewing it I should have 2 on Sydney and 1 on the Bulldogs. So.
Exactly.
And Brendy Richards, him and I are going to film a big Origin preview tomorrow, so keep your eyes out for that. Also, Top Better have launched a global tote. It's going to be a low takeout tote pool to compete with the current tote pools. If you want any more information about that, or you've got any questions, hit me up on Twitter at the picnics. And we can discuss that.
What they're putting
yeah.
So they're playing better than the best tote most of the time.
Yeah, and at the minute we've got the best tote guarantee, so definitely check that out. And especially if you're betting on the greyhounds at the minute, some of the pools that we're getting global tote-wise are more than competitive with what Super Tab and the other totes are getting. So definitely keep that in mind. And also, if you haven't already, you can head to Twitter at WinBetDan.
Oh, yeah,
follow DK.
Some sort of drink or something like that on a Saturday night.
What was your comment about Yogi?
He's smarter than the average horse. Remember Yogi? Yogi. Oh, he's a nice horse, Yogi. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't.
He lost his way in the last prep parties, but you know, he's in the right camp. In the Dewey stable, so he's capable of winning a good race.
Now, it wasn't quite the full into the second bottle of red 60-minute style blow up on Sunday, but you did make the point, DK, as we mentioned just then. Caston's a brilliant jumping track. I don't know why they couldn't get horses. I don't know whether it's we maxed out at Warrnambool and they might be saving for next week for the slightly better class ones. But you did make the point that why they've got 2 jumps in a short straight.
I thought I'll let it finish. I thought I'll let it finish. I thought, well, it was just always the last jump now was at the pointer or through, you know, before they, you know.
Yeah. Before they
jump on another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, I've been to Caston, that's where everyone stands, right there in front of the hill and everything.
So, I'm sure that's something that the jumps review panel will look at, and I mean, for the sake of the sport, we can't have it where there's small fields of 2 horses falling on a day that it was bad. It looked like we love it, like I love it. It's just little things like that we can do to fix it up. Jumps racing's been so safe now. Hopefully, as you said, boss, hopefully the turnover's there on Saturday, because if it's an extra race on a Saturday, I think it'll be great.
The key is that the administrators, and they've done a very good job with the jumps racing stuff, they need to not worry about what the lunatic fringe are carrying on with, because you're never going to please them anyway. They don't bet, they're not part of the industry, they never will be.
Yeah.
Same with the whip rules, and people that talk about betting whips and that sort of business. You try to cater to a crowd that has no other goal but to see racing disappear. So don't engage with it. Amazed that the cherry picker gives it any oxygen at all. You can't help yourself. So anyway, move on, just play on. They need to make sure they manage that stuff well, but they're doing a good job.
Potso had some feedback on the weekend. I'll kick it off with you, DK. The vault, since it's come in, since we changed from the traditional way the flights were taken, have you noticed anything? Are you taking any note of it?
Don't tell me. No, I don't. And I heard Big Trevor was one who was big on Top Park and big following the Bob. He's sort of completely gone to just to early markets and everything anymore. So it's not. It's only SP. I've managed to catch SPG somewhere. And, what is a killer to me and I've had other people talking, is FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Taking the early price, talking myself into taking the early price and then seeing it express out in the market. So trying to catch some SPG or top flight. I can't get top flight, but you can catch SPG in a couple of joints. And then the VOP pushes the price out of one particular corporate, perhaps hold it late, you can get it and end up with a nice dividend. But that's the only way to fix me.
But DK, isn't it? It's a little bit easier to cop if you sort of cop the unders and you average it out late, as opposed to the other way, isn't it? If you go, well, I could have taken $6, I'm now going to take $3.80.
That's right. You're trying. That's the vomit stuff. And then that's when you really get sick. So you're trying to avoid that. But I still reckon if 80% of my stuff I was able to hold on a bit late, I'd be better off. It's just, I mean, I've got some questions. People ask me about that all the time, and they ask me, I think they mentioned it, say, when should they be early or late? What do you really know? I mean, the basis that I come down to is the map. If it's going forward, if the computer systems can map it forward from a low draw, then it's probably going to shorten. If it's got no map, then you hold off a bit like there. The things that always get the drift late. There's obviously a lot of other factors, but if you're thinking about taking short, take the early price, or shouldn't I? And you're tossing up, think map. Just go to the map, what's the map say?
I would say to the punters, when you see one of those horses win, that might have been training at, say, let's just put some figures, 350, and then it goes over the line and the total's at 280. Just go back and look at what the big terms are looking for in that circumstance. So I'll give an example. The other week before foot was Stelberg, right? So wide draw, going forward, control the race. They were always going to find that horse. So that's one where you want to, if you see that type of situation.
And who rode it, Bob?
It was
Tom Sadler or
Tom Sadler, yeah. It was definitely Tom Sadler, I'm sure.
Tom Sadler,
Yes. So that type of situation, I'm saying there's always subtle differences, but if you can figure out what those teams that control the market look for, you'll get some answers about when to take early prices and when not. You won't always get it right. It's impossible to get the best price all the time, but you get some clues as to which are the ones that I need to get in my book.
So when you see the big shorters in the early market, I just go straight on, even when it's not a venue I'm betting at. I say, one's been 15 into 6 with the algorithm savaging off, 10 in the morning. Go to book, we've got no form, but there it is, it goes forward all the time. It's got an inside draw. So their starting point is the map. You know, it's the first thing that spit out, and the prices are, you know, they're always going to mark things shorter. They've got forward, and less things they got back.
Like I'm having a bit of a break. I've scaled back what I've been doing. I needed to freshen up, but a lot of why I needed to freshen up was FOMO. Like I was trying to do too much because I was worried about missing out, and it's just crippled me. So now I've just had to have a break, completely freshen up, and that's another thing. Like this game is a grind. So I know you've worked on a pots where you've had to manage how you run your business, and DK, you're the same. Like you'll take a family holiday where you're going on a break, and pots you've done it where you've sort of almost
I didn't go for
Friday nights now where you don't sort of worry.
I didn't go for 18 months though, Jubby, when things weren't going too well, you know. But I did have. You know, so 4 days off here, or just because it's freshen up can be as good as a holiday.
Yeah, and it just changes things around. Like I hadn't had one for probably.
You can get bogged right down. The fear of missing out and not doing the races that day. You have to walk away and you go to lunch here and then you want to see something like wins on the TV $10. You just got to. There's races around, so many races on that they're never going to stop and they're always going. There's always a chance the next day, so you've got to be able to do it.
Well, the VOP pots, you and I said that it hadn't been that friendly to punters, and I sort of thought that was...
I was particularly referring to the Saturday Metro meeting in Melbourne.
Yeah.
That's what I was particularly referring to.
But I had a discussion with a couple of rails bookies, James Felgate and Freddie Watts, and they sort of said, well, over the past sort of month or two, it's probably swung back the other way, where they're to the point now where they're probably not even going to offer top fluckers and price to their clients anymore, simply because the figures aren't in their favour anymore. But it's, I think it's...
I've never... You're a top fluck man, you like betting, but I've...
Yeah, well,
even when I was back in the day, I mean, you bet top fluck... Back in the day when I was there, you bet top fluck and you had Ernie Campagna and Neil Slater and Ron Cleary, 3 bookies running the rails and just busted up things, and all the other... So they wouldn't go to those bookies, the blokes who were the top fluck bets, they go to all the other ones, they say, do you want 1,000 top fluck this, 1,000 top fluck this? They say, yeah, and they just sit it under. They're earning a bloody thing, they just blast away and get something out of the market. It's just, for a bookie, I just... I wouldn't bet that. I think it's a terrible product as a book to bet.
Well, I think the way forward is now, as you mentioned, DK is looking at the early prices with the SPG, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems to be the new one.
If you can get SPG, that's nearly like having top, because the way the market operates, with one particular corporate dictating the prices late, and all the others, and Betfair tuning in, and that Betfair is tuning into that same similar pricing stuff.
Well, the thing is, they're happy to arb to drag the price out. They just want to get every dollar out of these horses they can.
That's it. And then it's just like Top Flight itself. They're not going in and getting out, going in, so you're missing out.
And the only time they really express drift out like that is if that corporate gets up on.
And that's a map issue, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can see your horse overcoming that, like I took 440 off him one last week, but again, it didn't have any map, and I had FOMO and I had things to do, so I didn't want to sit there watching the prices for 3 hours. And then they split at 750.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. But everyone else dragged it out, and I had some SPG, so it split 650. So I averaged it out at 5 or something, you know.
So that's just something for the punters to keep in mind. Like, if you have been like me, betting a lot of Top Flight and best of the best, you've got to evolve.
It's like everything's evolved, jumping.
Yeah.
I'm not doing 4 years ago to what I'm doing now.
No.
Because the market's got so much more.
It's more sophisticated now than ever before.
There's still the core stuff you've got to do, you know.
Yeah. And even even some of the tote race products with the SPG now, with the SP, are still very competitive, especially at a Seymour or something like that today.
I can't get my head around taking tote, but if I did, I reckon I'd be better off less tote. You know?
Yeah.
I just know something. Just train to get them catch the best fixed odds you can. But geez, if I had half my bet's best tote, I'd be less stressful and better off rather than trying to the FOMO and all this sort of stuff.
Boys, we mentioned what's coming up for the week. Have we seen any horses that we need to be looking at going forward? Some coming winners, perhaps?
Just on that, I was going, I've got one that's called Tai Chi Spirit, around second at Werribee the other day in a fast race. And it's a Waller horse, and I just think that Waller's completely changed the MO of the Melbourne stable.
Okay.
So got rid of Justine Hales, put the new girl in, but at the same time I think he's sending different horses down.
Yeah.
And you look at the jump outs now, they're jumping out a lot sharper.
Okay.
And one of the reasons Frog's getting going, he's got the backing of Waller.
Yeah.
Waller's going to play Froggy back into form.
Okay.
And so they're there to run well. One won the 2-year-old race at Geelong last week.
Yeah.
Trialled under wraps and Glen Mellon rode it and everything. And I just think, just look at Waller's got a different MO in Melbourne, and the horses he's got setting a better quality of horse down. And Froggy's not missing a lot of them, you know. He's the thing at Werribee, he got back, but he give it a good run, you know. It was really didn't miss it. It wasn't there for a bowl around, you know. It was there. So just I reckon that's going to change bonuses. Just you can pick it up at the Flemington jump outs straight away. So something's changed here, you know.
That's actually a real good nugget for the punters out there.
Now, I've got to say, I've been fairly reluctant with the Waller stable over the past year.
Absolutely.
And I would say to punters, now that they're starting to train more winners, that the key to the Waller stable, I learned when I was specialising in Sydney, is be careful not to give up on those horses too early. He's a very patient trainer, and he will allow them to build over a preparation. They have long preparation. So Overstep on Saturday was a very good example of that. You know, like they've just been trying to straighten her out, get her at the right race, and everything else. And you know, so they will win races at good odds when the market sort of half gives up on them a bit.
Well, I'm looking at the first starters and the lightly raced ones, and I'm just noticing a big change there. You know, and that one that won the other day was a half Darinosa. You know, the grey horse. You know, normally he was sitting down the B&C horses, you know, and he wasn't a factor first starting races and things like that. If they were down 2,000 metre horses getting ready for 4 runs later, they're there to win first start. You know, and they're like weird, they're there to win, but they're there to be big improvers as well. You know.
He can try a bit that way.
Who's that? He's the best way, but then so David Hayes is.
However, on that stable, I would say. Again, you've got to sort of try and pick your way through with these, where they're targeted and where they're not. With the we A teams away in Brisbane and Adelaide last week, that their horses as a group, particularly Paul Flemington on Saturday, and I would say if the A teams away, just be a little bit cautious.
Because you would assume that Peter Ellis would have gone to either Adelaide or Brisbane. Darren Murphy would have gone to whichever one Peter didn't go to, and therefore that means in Melbourne that unless you was there yourself, that there isn't anyone out there walking the track. Yeah, well, there's no one there walking the track.
Darren Matthew was at Flemington. So
he was at Flemington, okay.
We're naming the guys that we know and recognise, Jockey. It's more the ones behind the scenes that we don't know, I think. But, so I think a lot of those, wherever their horses are, where they're trying to win the biggest prize money, that's where their best people are going to be.
Correct.
Whatever boxes they've all got ticked. And I would think their horses last weekend were more likely to run to their peaks in Adelaide or Brisbane than they were at Flemington.
It's just something you've got to keep in mind too,
You've got to think your way through it, like anything, you've got to think your way through it. Look where all these jocks are gone and things like that. Like sometimes he might get an out wide meeting, and there was that Warrnambool meeting in the lead up to Warrnambool, and he said, well, Dee Bates was on a bit of a bad, and all these, they're 7th and 8th run jockeys. So you've got a chance to get them beat. Because these blokes haven't ridden them work, they're just on for the day.
Cup day over Easter weekend?
Yeah, he sent a few there.
Yeah, there was Albertino got beaten in the cup at a short price and a few things like that, because Kerrang was on that day, there was the city was on, Ocean was on.
He's had the winner today, as El Signore. So he went to Wang. He's going to all these different joints he never used to go before. He's got the horses now, he never used to go to Wang or Canella, but he never used to go there. It went El Reardon first start, well today it's gone D Lane and won, so you just got to think your way through it. If it was El Reardon again, it mightn't have won today.
So, have we got a winner though? Have we seen anything like this?
There's a lot of nice horses. What I will say is that the young, I don't know what it is about this time of year. Feels like that time of year leading into spring. And
it just had to be earlier this year.
A lot of good stables are letting some nice horses go. Especially the young horses. I don't know if they give them a run and they give them a break, but the Hawks team particularly, or the well-bred guns. Danny O'Brien's up and going again. He had those good winners on Sunday at Bendigo. He seems, and Darren Buckets was saying that he's got the mix right between the beach and she's at a new stable down there, the beach and Flemington, which takes, as David Hay says, it takes a while to adapt to a new training environment. And
maybe that's something to look out for with the Weir stable once Malden opens.
What?
He's got a property at Malden because he's half anticipating them closing Lady Bay. So he's essentially built a hill with a sand base track on it, so you can work them up the hill in the heavy sand like they do at Lady Bay and whatever else. Maybe there might be a little bit of a period there where it's in a little bit of flux, because where I stayed at Warrnambool overlooked Lady Bay, and you can see why people would be starting to get a little bit miffed. There's a lot of horses. Like, I know that it's capped at 160 odd, but 160 odd horses going along the beach every night, still a hell of a lot of horses.
You can see why there's an issue there.
The one thing I wanted to discuss before we finish, Juppy, is that I'm going to make my periodical appeal to administrators and media, and that the really interesting part of racing is wagering and race analysis. And it gets almost no oxygen whatsoever from either the
play that and they're going on the next day.
The media or the administrators. When you see something that's well done and interesting, like with Ben Ascari, and who's, as you said, you recognise it. And it could be so much more than that. So in the old days, what used to happen was the journalists would go in the ring, they'd know who all the big players were, it was visual, they'd be able to see what was going on, they had good contacts with all the bookies, and they'd write articles in the paper about who was behind the big betting moves and what happened, and it was, that was something that engaged punters and got them interested in the game. We're at the point now where the chief racing writer at the Herald Sun, the cherry picker, he was on the, or whatever he's called, he was on the radio one day suggesting that David Hayes is a $50 punter. Now, he probably believes that that's okay, but the problem is
I'm sure he only had $50 and I got chills today one.
If David is a $50 punter, please get in contact with any of us three. We'll happily lay you $50 and we'll take care of it. Because typically, if we can get the ASAP for $50 a throw,
Even before I went there.
I'll be
I would
more than
just
happy to take him.
say to Matt that a stable like that when that trains so many winners, when they've got one that they think particularly is hidden and they can back it, get it put out, it's very well organised. It's not, I think it takes some work to get to the bottom of it, but you're missing a few zeros, Matt, that's all I'm saying. There's an opportunity for whether it's, it'd be better if it was engagement by the administrator that got to, because really there are, you can count on, let's say, two hands, the groups that influence the market significantly. And so it wouldn't be that hard to understand it better. And if the administrators actually engage with those groups that influence the market significantly and, you know, gave them the incentive, the environment where they were willing to share more information. So that's from the administration side, but also from the journalistic side. What the journalists used to do would have really good contacts with all the bookmaking operations, that sort of thing, to find out who was backing who. That's just evaporated from the game, and I think it's a great loss to racing because that sort of information isn't getting into the mainstream enough. That's the part of racing that is exciting and engaging. That's what people love to hear.
Well, that's why I think that's why Snowy's, yes, a lot of articles, and we had, you know, between him and Shane Amps, they got together and organised it, but that sort of, yeah, it was something I think people found that quite refreshing and a different angle that people don't hear from.
Well, that sort of journalism,
unfortunately, you know.
That sort of journalism seems to have just been replaced by endless training.
Can you imagine on the big meetings on the Saturday, almost on a race-by-race basis, you found out if something shortened from $5 to $3.50, who was behind that? Do you know what I mean? Like, where they backed it, and what sort of things. And people might think I'm having a pop trip, but I find out without any real effort on Saturday morning where a lot of the big commissions are going. So if I can do it without even really trying, it could be done by a journalist if they really wanted to. And it's just, to me, it's a disappointing aspect that all of it. I applaud the racing administration for doing a good job of engaging future owners and current owners by increasing prize money, and that also engages the trainers and by extension the jockeys because they want the prize money. But the other part of racing that just gets completely left out in the cold is the wagering and the analysis that goes into that drives that wagering. And that's the part that just gets no coverage at all.
Okay, and even education stuff. They just got no. I mean, we went to those Betfair nights, didn't we, Jumpy? With Dan O'Sullivan and this or that. I mean, how many young blokes or people with a thirst for form, if Racing.com got something like that, and put on a bit of a forum and that, they could join out.
And even that's at the higher end, DK. Like, there's nothing even at the base level. Like, teach people how to correctly state trifectas and stuff like that.
Well, I leave that up to the TAB.
But give them the basics. But you know what I mean? Like, give them the basics, and even if it starts with the basics and then you move on to that other levels. But give everyone the basics of how to do it rather than just go, here's all the information, do your best.
So I just think, Jumpy, my point is with the people that do have a bet on Saturdays at different levels, there's intrigue about what drove those prices to move. What was behind it. I don't just think it's punters like us. I think, you know, your average recreational punters would love to know what is driving the betting market that they're involved in. If they back something and evens and it gets out to 5-2 and it's beaten, they'd love to know why, you know what I mean? And it gets no coverage.
Market forces don't get any coverage.
Speaking of wagering, boys, we're halfway through the ACCC inquiry into whether the merger of TAB and TATS should go ahead. Racing.com, RV and CrownBet have made submissions as they're against the merger. They think it'll be anti-competitive I think it's about another 5 or 6 years before the TAB licence, the tote licence comes up here in Victoria again, and they want to make sure that they can get the most for that then. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens if we do something.
We're crying out for what a national vote. Now they're against it.
So I think that it'll be another 3 or 4 weeks before we get a resolution, but it'll be very interesting going ahead. that'll pretty much do us for this week, I think.
So they fly
As
to Launceston.
as usual, had a longer one to follow. Heap of products there. Okay. Thanks for trying in, mate.
Yeah, good to be back. See you, boys.
Next time, get a return flight from Colombia so they can't catch you over there. Alright, that'll do us this week. Good luck, punters.